We need more psychology. We need more understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself.
Addiction, a word that often carries a shadow of judgment, a sense of moral failing, a whisper of weakness. From the outside, it seems like a matter of willpower, a simple choice that someone keeps making again and again despite the consequences. But that view, as common as it is, misses something profound. Addiction is not just a habit or a lack of self-control. It is a cry from the soul, a search for meaning in a world that often feels empty and disconnected. Carl Jung, one of the great minds of modern psychology, saw addiction not as a mere moral lapse, but as a deeply human attempt to find something sacred, something transcendent. He believed that behind every addiction lies an untold story, a fracture between who we are and who we long to become. For Jung, the addict wasn't someone weak or flawed, but someone who had lost contact with their inner essence, their spiritual core. He understood that addiction is not simply about the substance or the behavior. It is about what that substance represents in the depths of the human soul. In words often attributed to Jung, no addict heals unless they experience a spiritual awakening. This idea captures something essential, that the root of addiction is not found in the substance itself, but in the yearning it tries to satisfy. It is a longing for connection, for meaning, for wholeness. Often the person caught in addiction doesn't even know what they're searching for. All they know is a persistent emptiness, a haunting sense of incompleteness that follows them wherever they go. The substance, be it alcohol, drugs, gambling, food, or even technology, becomes a symbolic substitute for what they truly crave. It offers momentary relief, a fleeting escape from the pain of existence. For a few hours, the emptiness is silenced. The void is filled. But when the effects wear off, the original longing returns. Stronger, deeper, more desperate. It is a cycle that repeats, pulling the person further away from their true self and deeper into the shadow. Jung believed that this cycle is not just a pattern of behavior, but a symptom of a deeper hunger, a hunger of the soul. He saw addiction as a distorted expression of a need for spiritual connection, for something greater than the self. In many ancient cultures, psychoactive substances were used in sacred rituals to connect with the divine, to transcend the ordinary, to touch the eternal. But in the modern world, stripped of its symbols and rituals, these same substances are used to numb, to escape, to forget. The tragedy of addiction is not just the harm it causes, but the missed opportunity it represents. It is a failed attempt to reach something sacred, something meaningful. And this is where Jung's perspective is so powerful. He did not see the addict as someone simply lost to their impulses, but as someone on a misguided quest for transcendence. Their suffering, while profound, is also a sign, a symbol of a soul searching for wholeness. In the early days of Anonymous Alcoholics, Jung's ideas deeply influenced its founder, Bill Wilson. Wilson reached out to Jung, seeking his insights into the nature of addiction. Jung's response was simple yet revolutionary. The only real cure for addiction is a spiritual awakening. It is not enough to merely stop the behavior. Something deeper must be transformed. The soul must reconnect with its center, find its way back to what is real and meaningful. From this perspective, addiction is not just a disease or a habit. It is a symbol, a manifestation of an inner crisis, a soul in search of its true self. And like every crisis, it also contains within it the seeds of transformation. To heal from addiction is not just to stop using a substance. It is to begin a journey inward, to rediscover the parts of oneself that were lost, rejected, or forgotten. Jung did not speak of recovery in the medical sense. He spoke of it as a path toward wholeness, toward self-discovery, toward spiritual awakening. Addiction is a symptom of a soul disconnected from its source, and healing is the process of finding that source again, of reconnecting with the center of one's being. In many ways, addiction is like a map. It points not to a destination, but to the wounds that need healing, the parts of the soul that need attention. It is not an enemy to be fought, but a message to be understood. Jung believed that human beings are not just flesh and blood. They are symbolic creatures, driven by images, stories, and myths. When those symbols disappear, when the myths lose their power, the soul begins to starve. Addiction is a symptom of that starvation. The journey to healing is not about willpower or discipline alone. It is about meaning, about purpose, about finding that sacred connection that gives life its depth and beauty. To truly heal, one must listen, not just to the surface behaviors, but to the soul beneath. Because in the end, addiction is not just a habit, it is a language. And if we listen closely enough, it can guide us back to wholeness. In the shadow of addiction, there is a call for redemption, a whisper for change, and a plea for understanding. And maybe, just maybe, by understanding that shadow, we can turn the pain into purpose and the suffering into a journey toward the light.